Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome our home church. Let us prepare our heart in heaven. Let's sing a song, Holy Song 162. See through children's eyes. 162.
Life is pure, the world is new, the sun begins to rise. Love is here and we are free to see through children's eyes. So the truth shall make us free. Why walk when we can fly on the wings of God's true love, higher than the sky? Fear and doubt shall pass away, His heart no longer cries, as we can perfect our love and see through children's eyes. Oh, the truth shall make us free. Why walk when we can fly on the wings of God's true love, higher than the sky? Here we learn to live for all, choosing to be wise. Measure not the things you give, just see through children's eyes. So the truth shall make us free. Why walk when we can fly on the wings of God's true love, higher than the sky? If you choose to live this way, joy will fill your lives. Now we will give our best so all can see through children's eyes. So the truth shall make us free. Why walk when we can fly on the wings of God's true love, higher than the sky? So the truth shall make us free. Why walk when we can fly on the wings of God's true love, higher than the sky?
Thank you. Alright. Next song, number 9, The Lord Has Come. Number 9, The Lord Has Come.
Oh, the Lord is come. Oh, the Lord is come. He has come to the country of God, shining in glorious dawn. Here's our leader and Lord, filled with our Father's light, leading all men with His word into the purpose of God.
Number one, blessing of glory. Number one, blessing of glory.
Now the light of glory arises like the sun that shines on high. Now awaken into freedom, oh revive your spirits, oh revive. Wake the mountains and the valleys, bring alive the springs of the earth, like the world forever, with the light of your return. Like the world forever, with the light of your rebirth. We are called to bring back the glory to the light of God above. Now the Lord in His greatness fills the universe with tender love, ever seeking souls awakened, ever calling them to be free. How shall I attend Him who is calling to me? How shall I attend Him who is calling to me? From the dark of death I awaken and rejoice to live in grace. And the one who came to save me holds me tenderly in His embrace. I rejoice to feel the comfort of the love He has for me. What a blessing of glory to rejoice eternally. What a blessing of glory to rejoice eternally. How He lifts me up to embrace me in the blessing that is mine. What a blessing to receive Him in a love so tender and divine. How can I return the blessing, knowing all my life I will try? I can never stop feeling how unworthy am I. I can never stop feeling how unworthy am I.
Thank you. It's just about the Heavenly Parents, God, and true parents. Today is November 12, 2017. It's just about the Heavenly Parents, God, and true parents. Join me prayer. 살아계하시는 하나님 아버지 참 부모님 안녕하십니까? Most sincere loving God and true parents, good morning. We are grateful to receiving new day and new week. How much we can pray and sincerely offer our heart to devote to you, love you, serve you, every parent. True Father came, Jesus came of most sincere of heart and dedicating their life to you, Heavenly Parents, for your will and for your kingdom. The true Father taught us that our kingdom have a king and queen. The king and queen was one heart and one mind, love each other for the eternity. Through that love, you can multiply children, multiply nation and the world. That is the kingdom. You are supposed to be the wishing to make heavenly parents. Father came the time 1920. World was dark and a scary place. People was fighting, and nation and the world was fighting and killing each other. So many people died and wounded. So many family was destroyed. So many nation was destroyed. I know that so many sweat and tear and blood was shed. The Father came. Why? This world was so powerful tone of the world. What's wrong? How can make peaceful world? He was praying so hard, even cry and cry so much. But he understood. Nobody took care to the claim to be the Messiah. He even said that 3 times denied because he didn't know how to make a peaceful world. And he is through 16 years to 10 years that went the searching and searching and searching. He went to mountain, he went to the people, he went to the people most the shameful themselves, the prostitute, and he was not judged as the people. He listened. Why people have so miserable life? He lived with together, eat and share the heart and love. Through the journey, he understood the mistake of love the human ancestor made was most of the damage to the all humanity. Through understanding the fall, he fought with darkness, the evil, and called the Satan, the spiritual being. That kind of journey he went through like a prison. The world was sucked into like a prison, but his heart was the most loving and most sincere, dedicated heart to clean up the hate, anger, and sorrow, lifted away through loving, serving, and hearing the other people's heart, and through that loving, Father lifted up to one by one to heart and love. Through that kind of life, that become the Messiah. Each stage of the stage he went through, the individual course and the family course and the crown tribal course and national course and the world and cosmic level. Each step he was cried for the all humanity and to make the beautiful couple and beautiful family. Through that, one by one, he restored our heart and our nature, Heavenly Parents. We want to dedicate ourselves, be like Father, to even we are difficult time, we have a hope to love and serve and living for sake of others. Through that, we can make the beautiful world, the Heavenly Parent. Everybody living for sake of others how wonderful place it be. Like in the feast, everybody feeding other people, and warmness and joy and love, that is a place for the heavenly parents. We want to create the world like that, Heavenly Parents. Please guide us to your inspiration and love can save us, and also we can create the beautiful world. It's our hand, Heavenly Parents. Each of us take responsibility to living for sake of others. Through that, we can make kingdom of heaven. Please guide us. Even now, the war is happen, and the terrorism and the communist people try to attack to the free nation. Please guide us to cooperate with each other. Through that, we can make different paths. We don't need war, Heavenly Parent. If we can worthy enough to opening up our heart to love each other, forgiving each other, and make difference. Please guide us, lead us. Please guide today, right now, Heavenly Parents. We are grateful to receive your word and your vision. Please guide our pastor can share your vision and love and heart and the Messiah. Through that, we can change bit by bit to change our past. Please guide this time to sincerely receive your word. Thank you very much. I report in the name of Raman and Tamik Montanaro, Central, Blessed Central Family. Aju. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Please sit it, and please invite our pastor.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Today's November 12th, and 2017. I'm looking forward to seeing North Korea broken open and people there liberated from communism. It's been 70 years almost since the borders were closed in 1948. So maybe that would be a time, 70 years was the time the Father gave Soviet communism, and he was right. It started to come apart right at 70 years in 1987, 88, and after 1917, 1918, when it started with the Bolshevik Revolution. So maybe we can see a time of opening coming up for North Korea, and that would change the whole perspective of Asia. It would become a much more peaceful place. Korea would become much more peaceful. Let's hope that that can happen soon. Today I want to start our sermon by reading from the Divine Principle. I chose a section of the Divine Principle which, again, I've put lectures on this entire book online at our website, blessedfamilysanctuary.org. So if you're interested in hearing me give the lectures on the Divine Principle rather than reading it yourself, or reading it together side by side is actually the best way, then go to blessedfamilysanctuary.org and click on videos and click on Divine Principle lectures, and you can see all 15 sermons or lectures I gave on this. Again, I will say, as I said many times during those lectures, that you cannot teach this in every detail in 15 lectures, because it's 400 pages long, so, and every detail is really precious. So reading it is the best way. But sometimes reading it, you get lost. You don't know quite how it fits together, or you're not sure what it's trying to say. When you hear the lectures, it explains the purpose of each lecture and what it's about. So reading the Divine Principle together with a lecture is probably the best way. Today we're going to read from the 5th chapter on resurrection. And it was interesting that my wife's sermon, prayer was talking about how whether we're going from the family to the clan, from the clan to the tribal level, from the tribal level to national level, we have to clean up our past and make a foundation. That's kind of the section we're talking about here. True Father, Reverend Moon, came to fulfill the mission that Jesus could not accomplish because of the crucifixion. The crucifixion of Jesus, as anyone who's been following our sermons here knows and studying the Divine Principle knows, the crucifixion of Jesus was not God's original plan. He did not send his Son to just simply die. He did not send his Son to the chosen people to be killed. Frankly, that's stupid. It's very stupid to believe that God would prepare a nation for 2,000 years so that his Son could be sent to them and killed by those people. Jesus himself said, when they asked him, what should we be doing to be doing the work of God? And he said, this is the work of God, that you believe in him whom he has sent. God's will was for the Jewish people to believe in Jesus and follow him. Had they done so, the kingdom of heaven would have begun 2,000 years ago on the earth. That's why Jesus asked us to pray, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Has that prayer been fulfilled? No. But that was Jesus' prayer. So Jesus' clear message was, receive me, follow me, unite with me. He said clearly, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me. God's will is always that human beings do goodness. That's another way of looking at this. Can God predestine an evil act? Will God plan on human beings doing evil? Or does he build his plan on us doing good? He has to build his plans on us doing what is right. And he will prophesy that, but he gives dual prophecies. He says, this is what I'm planning for you if you do what is right. But if you do what is wrong and evil, this is what's going to happen. He always gives those dual prophecies. Throughout the Old Testament, in the book of Ezekiel, he says, if the righteous do what is right, and give the pledge, and serve the poor, and do the things that are right, then they will be blessed. But if the righteous turn from my ways, and do what is evil, then they shall be cursed. He's saying it's up to you. It's your decision what you do with your life. But this is what I want for you, and this is what I'm predestining. God is not going to send his Son and predestine that human beings kill him. That is stupid. Okay? Simple word. It's stupid. God sent Jesus to be accepted, to be welcomed, to be loved. He knew that human beings who have fallen nature and sin would have a hard time following and accepting and believing a person who's sinless and true and good. Because he knew it's hard, right? If you've done evil, and all of us have done evil, if you've done something wrong, you're scared of being found out. You're scared of being discovered, right? That guy with the English comic who's telling stories, you have the one with the chocolate cake, and he's going down the stairs to steal chocolate. He's telling a story when he was a child, and he's taking the last piece of chocolate cake that was supposed to be saved for his lunch the next day. And he thought, I'll just take a little piece. And then I'll take another little piece. And finally the whole thing's gone, you know. And the next morning his mom says, did you take the chocolate cake? You know, we don't want to be discovered when we do something wrong. We want to hide it. So the Messiah comes to reveal sin. Is that going to be something that people are going to just welcome? Oh, we love it. Thank you for revealing our sin. So now we can be good people. No. It is a given that the Messiah is going to suffer. Absolutely. He will suffer. But God's hope is that after 2,000 years of preparation and of following the 10 Commandments that Moses gave and of suffering the good and the evil that have come from their actions, that after 2,000 years of training, that the Jewish people might accept the extra discipline that the Messiah brings and follow him. He knows it's not going to be an easy sell, but he's hoping. Look, I prepared these people for 2,000 years. I gave them the 10 Commandments through Moses. I led them out of Egypt in Exodus. I led them through Joshua to reconquer their homeland of Canaan. I built them up through the 3 kings of Saul, David, and Solomon to become one of the greatest nations in the Middle East. And then when they fought and they became faithless, I divided them and I judged them and I sent nations to judge them. And then they repented through Malachi, through Ezra and Nehemiah. They repented of their sins of turning away from my ways. And they pledged themselves to follow my ways again. And for 400 years they suffered under Assyria and Greece and Rome. And now I'm sending them the Messiah, the King, the one who can teach them how to live righteous lives and teach the world through them how to live righteous lives. I'm going to send the Messiah. And I hope that they will receive him. If you're listening to these sermons for the first time or among the first times and you're a Christian, you have to think deeply about this point. Did Jesus come to die? The answer is that God did not send his Son to die on a cross. It was not God's original will. Yes, he picked up the pieces after we messed up his providence. And he created a new faith called Christianity, centering on that resurrected Jesus. He resurrected his Son, and then he sent a new faith. Made for 2,000 years, Christianity has been building a foundation to receive the second coming of Christ, because the first coming of Christ was not received, and it was not God's original will. God prepared the entire world to receive Jesus' teachings. Not just the Jewish people for 2,000 years, but every nation of earth, especially going east. God had prepared nations and whole blocks of nations to receive the Messiah. The Roman Empire had grown up on the foundation of Greek philosophy, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Alexander the Great had taken over all of the Middle East. And then the Greek Empire rose up. And then it gave way, its philosophy, which was very principled. Thomas Aquinas tried to incorporate Greek philosophy. Plato, Aristotle, Socrates. He tried to incorporate that into Christian dogma. That's what Thomas Aquinas did in the year 1200s. He made Summa contra Gentiles and Summa Theologica, massive works of philosophy and theology which were trying to incorporate Greek philosophy into Christian teachings in the Middle Ages. Because there was principle in those teachings. There was something, Socrates had truth, that he was trying to find the truth. So there was something good there. And it built up not just the Greek Empire, but the Roman Empire, taking the Greek philosophy and teachings and legalizing it, making it into a legalistic system with the Roman Senate and the Roman government and the laws and the Roman roads that went around. They conquered all of the Mediterranean basin. And they unified it, centered on one legal system. And Romans had pride in their legal system, and they had pride in their dignity, in their sense of justice, Roman law. They were a proud people. There was something good there. And God could have used that had Jesus not been killed by the Jews. Had he been welcomed, Jesus' teaching, he could have been preaching in the Colosseum in his lifetime. Why do you think the Colosseum and the Circo Massimo were created in Rome? To be forums for thousands of people to hear the teachings of one man in his lifetime. And through the Roman roads, that teaching could have spread throughout all of the Mediterranean basin, North Africa, Europe, and east to India and China, where Buddha had come 500 BC, at the same time, more or less, that Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle were building up philosophy in Greece. In India, Buddha was building up philosophy, reforming Hinduism from a very paganistic, very corrupt system. He was an Indian prince, and he was bringing a new understanding, which did not actually take root in India. It actually took root in China, right? Buddhism moves to Tibet and China and East Asia. But it still has an effect in India, because after Buddha came, there was a counter-reformation in India, and Indian Hinduism, which was very pagan up to that point, gets reformed, and yoga and yogic philosophy kind of imitates Buddhism. And now in America, we've adopted yoga, and we've adopted Buddhist practice. Many of your friends are practicing meditation, and we've learned the benefits of meditation and yoga and doing things to center your mind and focus your mind. And those teachings were around 2,500 years ago in India and in China because of Buddha. And in China, who else in 500 BC came? Confucius and Lao Tzu. Confucius and his disciple Mencius and Lao Tzu. These philosophies, the Tao and Confucian philosophy, the way of the right way, these were all preparations. In fact, Confucius' teachings, like Socrates' teachings in the West, Confucian teachings and Mencius and Lao Tzu built up within 200 years, like the same thing happened in Rome. A legalistic philosophy was built on the foundation of Confucius' teachings, and the Han Empire built up an entire civilization based on philosophy and law, parallel to the Romans. So had Jesus' teaching been accepted by Rome, instantly an entire empire could have been won over in the East. The Chinese Empire, which at its peak covered more territory and had more population than the Roman Empire. Wow. You think all this preparation was just coincidental? Folks, become students of history, folks. The whole world was like a womb waiting for one seed, one life spark to come into it and give birth to a new civilization, a new world centering on God. That was Jesus' mission and his hope, and God's hope for Jesus. The direct womb was the Jewish people. Had they accepted him, teaching would have gone into Rome and spread east to India and China, where the Han Empire was built up, and the whole world would have become righteous and true in the lifetime of one man, Jesus. But none of this happened because of the crucifixion. You have to understand the tragedy of the crucifixion. Yes, God was able to resurrect Jesus, and because of his faith on the cross, because of Jesus' faith on the cross in God, his unchanging mind, God could use Jesus to build a new religion, Christianity. But that wasn't God's will. God is not trying to make a new religion. God wants to end sin, end evil. But it didn't work. Rome crumbled. The fall of Rome, the rise and fall of Rome. The Chinese Empire crumbled. The entire Mediterranean basin fell into chaos. Christianity grew up in the falling Rome. In the fall of Rome, Christianity grew up and became the prominent religion. In the Middle East, in around 600, a little past 600, Muhammad came and organized the Arabic tribes into one religious thought centering on his teaching in the Quran, and created the religion of Islam, which took over the Middle East. and kind of constantly was fighting with Christianity for 1,000 years, and even today. We have not seen the kingdom of heaven that Jesus wanted. Everything fell apart. But God has been working through Christianity to make a foundation worldwide for the Messiah to come again. That man has come. His name is Reverend Moon, and he was born and fulfilled the mission of the second coming of the Messiah, the Christ. His teaching is the divine principle. If you are at all interested in seeing what God is doing, which takes generations sometimes, so it's not one of those kind of things. I'm not trying to sell you a fad here, okay? I'm not trying to sell you something that, wow, it's going to make you happy right now. For only $39.99, you too can, This is not an infomercial, okay? I'm not trying to make your life perfect by selling you a massage chair or a cubic zirconia diamond. It looks just like the real thing. Right? The Messiah is not coming to make people happy in the moment. Woo! Buy this new cereal and you can get a toy inside. Look at America marketing. Everything's about feel good now. I love Jim Carrey's making fun of Matthew McConaughey selling the Lincoln Continental, right? I'm just driving along in my Lincoln Continental. Very funny kind of routine he does. Everyone's trying to buy the new car. Ooh, that new car is going to make you happy. Ooh, that new house will make you happy. Ooh, the spa will make you happy. And you put in the spa after thousands of dollars and your new deck, and then you sit in your spa, and it's nice. And you're like, ugh. After a while, you're like, you don't even use it anymore. I have a friend who has a spa. They never use it. It's just too much trouble. I got to go to work, take a shower. I got things to do. If you're not happy, nothing's going to make you happy. That may seem contradictory. Happiness comes from within. From living for something great. For other people. For seeing a smile on someone else's face that you put there. Because of what you did for somebody. That's what makes people happy. That's not just true for religious people or for unselfish people. Why do you think movie stars do what they do? What makes movie stars happy?
The audience.
The
audience.
The audience. The acclaim that they get from their fans. The fact that people everywhere recognize and appreciate their performance. Bruce Springsteen is considered one of the greatest concert singers. He loves to go on stage. He's still touring. These guys, they love to tour because they love their audience. They love the relationship they have with the audience who's appreciating their music, and they love to play for them. They have a talent, that's true, but can you imagine Bruce Springsteen playing his heart out on a desert island? Father talks about that in his autobiography. The greatest singer in the world doesn't, if they're on a desert island and they're singing for nobody, they wouldn't want to do that. Just singing doesn't give you joy. Seeing the shock, the amazement, the wonder in someone else's face because of your talent, because of your gift, that gives you joy. Happiness comes, paradoxically, from what you give to others, not from what you take for yourself. When you give love and something of your gift to others, that's what makes you happy. And that's a solid principle of the universe. That's the way, you know why? Because that's how God did it. God sought happiness too. Why do you think God created the universe? I was talking with my brother Kavi's wife, and we were talking about this point. Why would God create the universe? Because she's seen so much suffering, and she was asking, why would God do this? Why would God create the universe knowing that there was going to be so much suffering? And I tried to explain that God didn't know there would be so much suffering. He knew there's a possibility always of deviation from His ideal. But his purpose in creating was for joy. But that he's a principled guy. So even though he wants happiness, and you could say, well, that's selfish, God's selfish. He's seeking happiness by giving joy to others, by giving joy to us. He created this entire beautiful universe for us. Did you appreciate a sunset or a sunrise recently? So beautiful. The colors of the autumn, now they're gone. The trees have all lost their leaves. But the colors of the autumn are so beautiful, right? Is there anything more beautiful than a sunset hitting beautiful red maple that's in its last leaves and the last foliage of bright scarlet red and orange? The sun hitting that, wow. It's just, and the crisp air in the autumn, wow. And then winter has a beauty too, right? The snow covering everything. Everything peaceful and cold and clear. The sky crystal clear. Everything clean and white. Right? And then the spring. Everything, all the snow melting and the first flowers coming up. Crocuses and irises and the beauty of these flowers everywhere. And then the beautiful green blush that's coming on all the trees as the new leaves come. Everything has a blush of green and pink. So pretty. And the mist coming up off the ground because of the spring. Wow, right? And then the summer has a great beauty too. The cicadas screaming at you and everything warm and hot, and the summer nights are so beautiful, right? The warmth of an evening, talking to friends in a porch, killing mosquitoes. No, hopefully not. But there's beauty in everything. God created the universe for us. Our bodies are amazing. God created that for us, so that our spirit would have a beautiful realm to explore and grow in. And then when we die, our spirit goes to an eternal realm, where we can spend the rest of eternity with God, sharing experiences with God. But this is our growth period here on this earth. Yeah, there's pain here, there's suffering. But it was not God's intention to make us suffer. It was God's intention to help us grow so we could experience a divine nature and return joy to God. Is God selfish for wanting happiness? No, it's not wrong to want happiness. What is wrong is how you try to get your happiness. If you try to take it from others, stealing and robbing love and robbing money and robbing things. Even if your job is a selfish job and you're taking from people, you feel guilty inside. But you might have a lot of money, but you're not happy. Happiness comes from giving joy to others, because that's how God is. That's how God created the universe. That's the fundamental principle of the universe. So God sent the Messiah again. The second coming of the Messiah. Reverend Moon, born in 1920 in Korea, fighting against Japanese occupation in his first 25 years, then trying to reach out to Christianity, the chosen religion. Christianity was chosen to receive the second coming of the Messiah because they were the ones who received the first coming of the Messiah. The Jews couldn't be in that position anymore because they'd already had a chance and they didn't accept Jesus. So how could they accept the second coming if they don't even accept the first? So the Christianity, as Jesus said, the kingdom of God will be taken away from you and given to a nation producing the fruits thereof. He was speaking to the Jews because he said they didn't receive the Messiah. They did not know the time of their visitation. So Christianity became the new chosen people. So if you're a Christian, you're a chosen person. You're chosen to receive the second coming. But I'm telling you, the second coming already came. And most Christians didn't accept him. Father, reaching out to Christianity, received the same kind of treatment that Jesus received at the hands of the Jews. Rejection, disrespect, even violence. And he suffered, but he still made a foundation. More and more people recognizing him as the Messiah, following him, letting him choose their spouses, bless them together in marriage, creating true families on the earth. First 36 couples, 3 times 12, then 72 couples, Then 124 couples, all principled numbers. Then 430 couples, the number of years the Jews suffered in Egypt, while the Hebrews suffered in Egypt. Finally, 430 years. And then it's representing the nation. And then 777. And then 1,800 couples. And then 2,075 and 6,000. So a total of 8,880, something like this, couples in 1982. And then in 1989, in 1988-89, 6,500 couples and 1,275 couples, so 7,777 couples. And then 30,000 couples in 1992. And then 360,000 couples in 1995. And then Father began expanding the blessing worldwide, 3 million couples, and then 36 million couples, to make 40 million couples. Number 40 being the number of separation from Satan. And then he opened it up completely and said, let's just keep blessing until we reach 400 million. What an impact that one man had in his lifetime in the face of incredible opposition and persecution. This is the Messiah, folks. There's no other way about it. This is the Messiah. He died in 2012 at the age of 92, almost 93 years old. He left behind a legacy of love, of serving others, and of creating one world family centered on God. Let's read now from the principle in the section on returning resurrection. This is Father's teaching about how after you die, you can still grow spiritually, even though you don't have a body anymore to grow in. Originally, God had intended us to grow to perfection in this physical body in our lifetimes and go to spiritual world as a perfected spirit. But because of the fall, this never happened. And we became sinful, dark, and evil. And we never grew. We get confused and lost and wander around in immaturity our whole lives, hurting each other. God has been trying to straighten this out with Judaism and Christianity. And the second coming of the Messiah came. Now, Father taught us that when Jesus came, the spirits of Jews who had been righteous in their life came down, and all kinds of spiritual phenomena were happening, right? If you read the New Testament, all these spiritual phenomena are happening around Jesus. Because these spirits of the Jews, like Elijah and Moses, appeared to Jesus on the top of Mount Transfiguration. Well, not just them, but all the righteous Jews were coming down. But people weren't spiritually open. They couldn't see them, right? The disciples' spiritual eyes were open on the Mount of Transfiguration. I'm talking about Matthew 17 here, if you want to read it yourself. Moses and Elijah appear, and the disciples are shocked and amazed and awed. But actually, those spirits were around all the time, trying to help people follow Jesus. And that's how those Jewish spirits could receive the benefit of Jesus' teaching and following Jesus, even though they didn't have a body. It's called returning resurrection. When Father came, the spirits of righteous Christians throughout history came down, what you call like angels, and helped him. That's how come in his lifetime he could reach out to hundreds of millions of people. A boy born on a farm in Korea. Because he was the Messiah. So all these spirits recognized him as the Messiah and they tried to help him. And now, in this section, Resurrection chapter 5, section 2.3.3, this is the returning resurrection of spirits who abide outside of paradise. Meaning people who were not necessarily Christian in their lifetime. And this includes evil spirits. This is how God is planning to clean up all the spirit world. Even evil realms in the spirit world are intended to resurrect. God wants to resurrect every spirit. Because he doesn't want even one person to live in hell for eternity. Because his original ideal is the kingdom of God on earth and in heaven. And he did not plan in his original ideal for one corner of his spirit realm to be for punishing people and hurting people. And people to suffer in hell. God did not plan hell. Hell is like a hospital, like a sick zone, like a mental hospital for people who lived selfish, evil lives on earth and have no place to go in the spirit world. So they go to a dark realm away from the love of God to hide out and try to figure things out. Well, this is how God helps them. Ready? There are several classes of spirits who abide outside paradise. Each has a way to achieve returning resurrection. First, let us examine the returning resurrection of spirits who believed in religions other than Christianity during their lifetime. So Buddhists and Confucianists and Muslims and Jews after the crucifixion of Jesus. Just as any two people must first form a common base with each other before they can work toward a common goal. So if you want to work with someone to get a common goal, first you make friends, right? You become friends with each other. You trust each other, unite together. Then you can work together, right? Like a team, right? Your soccer team, you have to work together, right? Become one. And then when you're trusting each other, you're like you almost can imagine. Like Messi, when you watch him play, you can tell that his teammates, Sanchez, others, they know exactly where he's going to be. They pass to where he's going to be, not where he is, right? Because he's running. They pass to where he's going to be. And Messi passes to where his teammates are going to be. They can almost think what the other person is thinking. They almost have like ESP about what each other are thinking. They can read each other's minds almost. Good players. You watch any of the great basketball teams. Amazing. You know, when I was younger, it was Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. You know, they were the team that couldn't be beat, the Chicago Bulls. They would pass into space, and the other guy would just magically appear there suddenly. He was coming, you know, just so, you know, alley-oops, amazing things. You watch it, and it's always that teamwork. So spirits have to make that teamwork with us before they can benefit from our lives, and before we can benefit from their guidance. So there's a teamwork. Just as any two people must first form a common base with each other before they can work toward a common goal, earthly people and spirits can work to achieve a common providential goal, meaning work for God, only when they first form a common base. Therefore, a spirit who returns to the earth for his resurrection looks for a counterpart among the earthly people of the religion in which he believed during his earthly life. If he's Muslim, he's going to look among the Muslims to find a common base, because there's a common faith, a common belief. A spirit descends to the person of his choice and guides him. Many times, he descends to a descendant. In other words, your great-great-grandfather comes to you, because there's such a common base of character even there, right? There's a common base of your personality even, right? So Junsung loves to work with, you know, mechanical things. Probably someone in our ancestry who was an engineer or something has chosen Junsung to work with, and he's inspiring him. His guardian angel is a mechanic or an engineer or someone who's really good with his hands. So this guy's working with Junsung, so he has a gift. Why do you think Mozart at 4 years old could start playing the piano? Clearly, there are spirits descending to these geniuses and guiding them right at a young age to be geniuses at whatever they do. But all of us have spiritual guidance, some good and some bad. We're getting there. A spirit descends to the person of his choice and guides him. When he helps that person fulfill the purpose of the providence of restoration, they both receive the same benefits. So in other words, when you grow, because of your connection to this spirit, and both of you working together and fulfilling something for God, you benefit, you grow spiritually in inheriting the goodness from the Messiah. And then that spirit also benefits. They grow with you spiritually. They receive the same vitality elements, it's called, from your spirit, from your body. Second, let us examine the returning resurrection of spirits who lived a conscientious life, even though they did not believe in a religion. So someone who was a philosopher maybe, someone who believed in goodness, but they didn't want to follow any particular religion. No one among fallen humanity embodies perfect goodness, because no one has resolved the original sin within himself. Hence, a good spirit is only relatively better than an evil spirit. So when we talk about good spirits and evil spirits, it's not absolute. Like these are really good spirits shining. Oh, and these are evil spirits. No. We're all a mixture of good and evil. But there's some that are relatively good, okay? These good spirits descend to good people on earth and cooperate with them in order to help them fulfill the purpose of God's providence of restoration. In the process, the spirits receive the same benefits as the people they have helped. So you see the principle involved here. We're making a common base with the spiritual world. We're working together for a common goal, and we're both receiving the benefit from this. Third, dun dun dun, let us examine the returning resurrection of evil spirits. There's all kinds of evil spirits, right? These are the dark, scary spirits. In the Bible, we read about the cursed, who are liable to the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels in Matthew 25:41. His angels here refers to evil spirits who live and work under the control of the devil. So if someone lived their life under Satan's control, and there's all kinds of evil that we can see in the world, right? Financial evil, sexual evil, hurting people, violence, all kinds of evil we see. Those people are under the control of Satan. Evil spirits are controlling that person. If they don't reform or change or repent in their lifetime, when they die, their spirit is dark and separated from God, very seriously perhaps. And they go to a dark realm, far from the love of God. That realm exists. It was not God's intention, but it exists. How can those spirits resurrect? The spiritual creatures, commonly known as ghosts, whose features and identity are often unclear, are none other than evil spirits. Even evil spirits are able to receive the merit of the age by returning to the earth. However, the works of evil spirits do not always bear fruit and result in their receiving the benefit of returning resurrection. If they come down and they help you to do evil, are they going to benefit from that? No. Both of you go deeper into hell. That happens a lot. We are often influenced by evil spirits, right? Did you ever do anything evil in your life? Selfish, evil? Do you sometimes feel like a compulsion, or something pushing you to do evil? Or to be selfish? That compulsion, that spiritual compulsion is coming from outside of yourself, from the spiritual world. You have to fight it. So the work of evil spirits does not always result in returning resurrection. To receive such benefit, their works must have the effect of punishing earthly people to help them make conditions of indemnity, to help them make conditions to indemnify their failures, which have frustrated God's past efforts to cleanse them of their sins. So God is trying to help you cleanse your sin. He's trying to guide you through your own heart to do good things, to fix your sin. But you keep resisting God. You don't want to do it. You're just being selfish. So finally, God allows an evil spirit to come and kick your butt. And through that suffering, you pay the indemnity you didn't want to pay before, and you get cleansed of your sin. Your sin is punished. That's why many times before conversion, right, to Christianity, what happens in someone's life before they can convert? What happens? Everything falls apart. Their life goes to hell in a handbasket. They hit rock bottom, right? Their life is a disaster. They get slammed. Car accident, slammed, they're in the hospital. And then they wake up and they realize, my God, I've been living my life like a beast. And they repent and they convert. And they offer their lives to God. But that suffering led to that. And that suffering was done by some evil spirits who kicked their butt. And that evil spirit gets benefit from that. because it results in that person converting and repenting and changing. So, again, to receive such benefit, their works must have the effect of punishing earthly people to help them make conditions to indemnify their failures, which have frustrated God's past efforts to cleanse them of their sins. How then can the works of evil spirits result in casting judgment on behalf of heaven? This next section here, I think, is really interesting because Father talks about not someone repenting of their sins and becoming a Christian or something like that. He talks about going, like almost prayer, talking about going from the level of benefit of an individual to the family, or family level benefit to the clan, or clan level. In other words, if you want to become a greater person, not just leading a family level, but a clan, or for not just a clan, but a tribe, or not just a tribe, but a nation, you have to pay indemnity for all the sins in your ancestry up to the national level, or up to the tribal level. Who do you think he's really talking about here?
Christian.
Himself. Actually. This was the course Father had to walk. To go from the individual level to the family, clan, tribal, national, worldwide, cosmic level, to reach even the level of God, Father had to get slammed 100 times. He was put in prison 6 times in his life. Beaten up. Tortured. His life was hell. But through this, he was able to push the blessing to the worldwide and cosmic level. Through his suffering. Now, of course, we should learn from this and welcome suffering. So that we can go from the individual level to the family level, from the family level to the clan, from the clan to the tribe, till we can become good forces in God's providence. But who did it first? Father. Let's read. Let us take an example. Suppose, Father says, there is a person living on earth who, based on the merit of the age, is about to graduate from his current sphere of benefit to a higher sphere of benefit. He cannot graduate to the new sphere of benefit unless he first makes some condition of indemnity to remove the sins of the past. Maybe he didn't even commit those sins. They're sins of his ancestors. In the case of graduating from the family sphere to the clan sphere, a person must pay the debt of sin both for himself and for the ancestors of his clan. Heaven allows evil spirits to torment him as punishment for this sin. So even the Messiah gets punished for the sin of his ancestors, so he can grow to a higher level of power and benefit. If he willingly endures the suffering given by the evil spirits and overcomes it, he will have successfully paid the indemnity through this condition and thus be entitled to enter the higher sphere of benefit at the clan level. The key word here is willingly. Read it again. If he willingly endures the suffering given by the evil spirits and overcomes it, he will have successfully paid the indemnity through this condition and thus be entitled to enter the higher sphere of benefit at the clan level. The evil spirits who have tormented him, receive a corresponding benefit. This is the way that, based on the merit of the age, the providence of restoration expands its sphere of benefit from the family level to the clan level, the national level, and the worldwide level. Whenever humanity is to graduate to a higher level, the person leading the providence leading the providence must make a condition of indemnity to resolve the sins which he or his forefathers have committed. Father paid the indemnity for all of us, like Jesus did on the cross. On the spiritual level, Father continued that process and suffered all the way back to Adam and Eve. He paid the indemnity for the sins, not just of his own ancestors, but if you go back far enough, right? If you're paying this kind of indemnity, right, and you're paying for your family, that goes back one generation. If you go pay for a clan, that goes back maybe 7 generations. You pay for the tribe, that may go back 21 generations. If you pay for the nation, that may go back 200 generations. You pay for the world, now you're going back thousands of generations. And finally, on the cosmic level, Father paid that indemnity. He willingly suffered and was punished for the sins of Adam and Eve, and for the sins of the Jews, and for the sins of the Muslims, and for the sins of the Buddhists and the Confucianists, and every tribe and every race and every nation on earth. He willingly paid that indemnity, so he could stand as the central figure for the world. Whenever humanity is to graduate to a higher level, the person leading the providence must make a condition of indemnity to resolve the sins which he or his forefathers have committed. That's why it's so stupid to talk about, well, does the Messiah have original sin or not? It's just stupid. It's like how many angels can dance on the head of a pin? It's like stupid mental fallen people talking about stupid things. The Messiah takes on all sin. The original sin, ancestral sin, national sins, personal sins, every sin. He takes on everything. And he pays for it. He gets punished for it. The works of evil spirits may help an earthly person fulfill indemnity conditions to purge his sin in 2 different ways. In this last paragraph, I'm simply going to talk about how evil spirits attack you. First, the spirit may trouble the earthly person directly. So you get bad dreams, or you get evil temptations, or you get attacks, or some frightening feeling, or something like this, or you may have to go through your own emotional, psychological torment. Second, the evil spirit may descend to the spirit self of another person living on the earth who is about to commit a sin comparable to the sin of the person to be punished, and work through the second person to attack him. So sometimes you come upon someone who's really got it in for you. They want to punish you. They want to hurt you. Or a circumstance, a situation where you get hit from people outside, Those people are getting hit by evil spirits to attack you, to punish you for your sin. In either case, if the earthly person, again, gratefully and willingly suffers the work of the evil spirit, he will make the indemnity condition to purge his and his ancestors' sin. This sin will then be resolved, and he will enter the higher sphere of benefit which has become available in the new era. Thus, the works of the evil spirit will have cast judgment on the person for his sin on behalf of heaven. Consequently, the spirit will receive the same benefit as the earthly person. He too will enter the higher sphere of benefit. That was just 1.5 pages of the divine principle. If you don't think yet that this book is like plutonium, this book has the power to blow up the world and make a new world, please read this book. Study it. The truth in this book is so powerful. You can open any page and read one page and it's like, whoa! It'll answer all your questions about the Bible. The man who wrote it was the second coming of Christ, for goodness sakes. But if you don't believe me, which I don't expect you to, read the book yourself. Read it. Study it. And see if what I'm saying is true. And if it is, you've benefited. If it's not, you can reject it, throw it away. But if it is, you can receive the benefit of the highest spiritual teaching of this age. This is the truth that can set us free. As Jesus said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And he said, there are many things I would share with you now, but you cannot bear them. When the Spirit of truth comes, he will guide you into all the truth. So what Jesus said on his life, he couldn't share all the truth. He said, if I speak to you of earthly things and you don't understand, how can I tell you of heavenly things? The hour is coming when I will tell you plainly of the Father. You have to know that Jesus could not share all the truth in his lifetime. We weren't ready to receive it. We killed him, for goodness sake. So now the truth is here in the divine principle. Please study. And what can we receive from today's truth? What did I emphasize again and again when I was reading that? What's the key word in that passage I just read?
Willingly.
Willingly. Gratefully and willingly suffer. That seems like opposites, doesn't it? When you're suffering, are you usually grateful? Usually you're complaining. Moan, 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 right? He hurt me. My brother hurt me. Right? But don't be an evil spirit somehow. Okay? So you don't like try to be evil, because that's really not good. No, you want to be good, but we have sin. And it's confusing and it's complicated. And sometimes we have to get punished for our sin. Punishment is not evil. Punishment, if you see it from God's point of view, punishment is a good parent loving his children enough to punish them for what they're doing wrong so they can go the right way. As good parents, do you punish your children? Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to punish your children sometimes. That's love. Does God love us? Yes. If you're grateful, then the punishment you receive can benefit you, help you to grow. If you're complaining and resentful, do you think that helps you then? If your parent punishes you and you hate your parent because of this, and you run away from home and you go live on your own, are you going to benefit from your parents' punishment? And so, you must be grateful for whatever comes in your life. Of course, it's easy to be grateful when you get blessings. Ooh, I got money. Someone gave me a lot of money. Or, I won this award. Or, I'm being recognized for this. But it's harder to be grateful when you feel that things are not going your way, when things are hurting you, when weird stuff happens that seems to be like singling you out for punishment. Maybe it is singling you out for punishment. And maybe you deserve it. Maybe not you personally, but maybe your ancestors did some stuff that you are benefiting from, which they shouldn't have done. If your ancestors were thieves and they stole a lot of things and you're benefiting from all that money, maybe the best thing to happen to you is for you to lose all your money. Because that money wasn't yours to begin with. It was stolen. So if a rich person is sitting on wealth that was gained in an evil way, maybe the best thing for that rich person is if they lose everything. But they're not going to see it that way at first. Unless they have God's point of view. They feel an unease and suddenly they lose everything and they feel liberated. It's a blessing. Thank you, God. Do you see? So be grateful. Pursue goodness and be grateful for whatever happens to you. Let God guide the spirit world around you to help you or to punish you as you need. Be grateful. Okay? That's a message for myself as well. All of us. Okay? Let's be grateful for whatever happens to us. The good things, the blessings, and the punishment. They're both from a loving God. If you're grateful. If you're willing to receive it. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you so much for being our loving parent, for punishing us when we need to be punished, for blessing us and helping us to grow. You always have our best interest in your heart, Father. And I pray that we can see that always, and we can be grateful when we get punished. And we can be grateful and willingly endure the punishment of evil spirits. So we can go from the family level to the clan level, from the clan to the tribal, from the tribal to the national level. We can go to higher levels of benefit, and we can help more people. We can be greater influences. We can be tribal messiahs, Father, through the suffering that we undergo willingly. Please bless my friends who are listening and let them receive your guidance and blessing. Please bless all of mankind, and that we can all become one family. We ask your blessing. We offer everything to you. In the name of Raman and Tamiko Montanaro, we offer this report. 축복 중심 가정, 라만과 타미코 몬타나로 이름으로 보고드립니다. 아주. 아멘.